how is it already 6 full months into the year? Like, how are we literally already at the start of July? That is literally blowing my mind right now. This year has gone so fast. Like, I cannot believe how fast this year is going. But today we are going to be doing our Q2 goal review, and I was actually way more excited this time around to film this video than I was the last time, because if you guys watched the Q1 video, I'll link it here somewhere if you guys haven't yet seen that. But at the start of that video, I was saying to you that I had kind of been putting off filming that video because I really just didn't want to face reality and actually look at my goals and see if I'd hit any of them. Whereas I found with this quarter, since doing that at the end of Q1, it almost like realigned myself with my goals and sort of just like really got me back on track. And it meant that throughout these last few months, I've been like regularly checking in on my goals list and seeing what I can do to try and hit them. And I've definitely been more in line with what I want to achieve, basically. So anyway, without keeping this introduction too long, today is obviously going to be reviewing how Q2 went. So I'm going to follow the same layout that I did for my Q1 goals, which means we're going to start with some reflection on Q2. And I have a little list written down. I went through all of my photos basically from the last few months to pick out everything that really went well over the last couple of months. So I've got my little laptop here and I'm just going to literally read through the list that I put together. So number one was going to my friend Hannah's hen do. It was my first hen do that I've ever been to as an adult, and I just had the best time. Like, it was just so much fun, and I feel like I'm entering that phase of life where a lot of people around me are engaged and, you know, just doing all of those things. So I feel like there's probably going to be a few more hen do's to come. I actually have a hen do next weekend, talking of hen do's. But yeah, that was one really fun thing that happened in Q2. My second thing was celebrating my first Anzac Day. Now, I've lived in Australia for 4.5 years, and just for whatever reason, I've just never actually gone out on Anzac Day and celebrated and like played two up. So this year, one of my best friends is in the Defence Force, so I actually went out with her. The third thing was running a half marathon. If you have watched some of my videos, you know I was training for the Hoka Half Marathon, which happened in May. So that was almost 2 months ago now, which is actually crazy. And I managed to complete that. The fourth thing was hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So that was obviously something that I was working towards, and I hit that at the very end of April. So it's been a couple of months since I hit that, which has been super exciting. The next was going to Japan. We obviously had the best time in Japan. Like, I'm not even gonna go into it because I can talk 4 hours about Japan. But again, I'll link the videos here for the Japan vlogs if you want to go see them. And sort of as like a subsection of Japan, I also put going to Universal. I've wanted to go to Universal, specifically Harry Potter World, for years. Now, I still feel like I want to go to the one in America because obviously everything at this one was in Japanese, so we didn't really understand what they were saying. But yeah, it was great. Then the next thing was going whale watching. This was actually kind of like an unintentional whale watch, but basically a couple of weeks ago, Kira, Aaron and I, we were walking, doing the Coogee to Bondi walk, and there were just like so many whales breaching. And I have wanted to see a whale breach for like the longest time. And whenever we've been whale watching before, I've just like never been fortunate enough or lucky enough to see it. And we literally must have seen, I don't know, like 20 whales breach. Like, it was crazy. It was just like non-stop, one after the other. It was unbelievable. And the final thing I put on this list was having my first girls' night in my apartment. And I feel like that's a pretty random one to have on here. But basically, I've lived in this apartment for like, I don't know, probably coming up to 2 years now. And we just like never really have the girls over. So anyway, so last weekend, I think it was, maybe the weekend before, Stephen was away for the weekend. So I had all the girls round, I made everyone dinner. I love cooking for people. I feel like I've mentioned this before. So I made everybody dinner and we had like a few drinks, and it was just like a really fun night. But anyway, that is enough of recapping what's gone on over the last few months, and let's get started with reviewing our goals. So my first category is my personal development category. I've got my phone here in my hand, which just basically has like my breakdown of everything. So if I'm looking at my phone, that is why. But number one was to read 52 books, and I am currently up to 20 books. I feel like my reading has been much slower than I thought, and I kind of like, not that I fell out of love with reading, but I found that I had like a string of books that I read back to back that I just like didn't love, and therefore it was taking me ages to get through them. But recently I've read like a couple of books which I've really been enjoying, both fiction and non-fiction. And yeah, I feel like I've started to get like back into it. Being at 20, my goal was 52, so I've got another 32 books to go, so I'm less than halfway to my goal. So we're gonna have to get our reading on. This, at the moment, because it's winter here and it's cold, I feel like I've been reading a bit more because I am spending a lot more time at home, spending a lot more time in the apartment because it's just so cold to want to go out and do anything. So that's kind of what's been going on there at the minute. Number 2 is my Spanish lessons. Now, I mentioned in the last video that I had decided not to actually take Spanish lessons because I felt like there was still a lot of learning that I could do by myself before financially committing to like lessons and getting a teacher and all things like that. I have found that I am not loving learning Spanish as much recently. Like, to be honest, with my Duolingo, which is mainly what I've been using, I haven't even been using language transfer recently, but with Duolingo, I found that I'm like putting it off to the last second, and then like I'm literally just doing one level just to keep my streak going. Whereas like before, I was actually really enjoying learning. My skill level, like my skill, what's the word? Like my capabilities are definitely better, obviously, because I am still learning. But I'm at the stage now, I'm currently learning how to speak in the past tense, and I'm just being lazy, to be honest. I haven't learned how to properly conjugate the past tense, so therefore I'm kind of just like guessing or like using the hints every single time rather than actually like having learned that. So that is like pure laziness, to be honest, on my part. So yeah, I just haven't been loving it, and to be honest, I haven't really been forcing myself to spend more time doing it. But yeah, it's like kind of something that I need to get back on track with. In the last video, I mentioned that I would find a Spanish TV show to watch, and I have not done that. I've been watching, what have I been watching? I've been watching Gilmore Girls, so that's been kind of taking up most of my time. And I've also been watching the UK Love Island this year, so I just haven't found a Spanish TV show, to be honest. It's not even that I tried to look for, and I just, being completely transparent and honest, haven't even bothered trying to look. The third thing on my personal development was gratitude and manifestation, and I've improved, definitely improved than last quarter, because last quarter I was, to be honest, not really doing it at all. I got that little journal that I'm pretty sure I showed you guys the last time, and I, not every day, but at least probably once a week I've been doing it, is just writing in this journal 3 things that I'm grateful for and some manifestation. And yeah, I feel like I haven't yet seen any immediate benefits, but I definitely think that there are like subliminal benefits that will be happening that I'm just like not even really aware of. Funny enough, I was actually chatting to one of my friends, and we were just talking about manifestation, and she was saying to me that she's got like this big list of things that she'd written out that she was manifesting, and she was saying that like they're all just becoming true, like everything is happening for her. So it kind of inspired me, and I want to write out like a big list of things that are going to happen to me or that I want to happen, and you know, just watch them all slowly come together. The final goal on that list was the cooking class, which obviously last quarter I already kind of ticked off, but I just wanted to mention that I actually ended up doing a second cooking class when we were in Japan. So we ended up doing a sushi making class. It was so much fun. You guys know I'm not the biggest lover of fish, like I'm quite a fussy eater as well, but I tried so many new things. We learned how to make sushi, and it was just like a really good experience. And to be honest, when I go to new countries, I love doing a cooking class and like learning a bit more about their cuisine and things like that. So yeah, I've officially now done 2 cooking classes this year. Okay, let's move on to our second category, which is health and fitness. And we've got some things to tick off here on this list. So number 1 was run a half marathon. Now last quarter, technically I had already done a half marathon, but I hadn't yet run the race. So I've now completed my half marathon race. I did it in a time of 2 hours and 9 minutes, which I was super proud of. It cut off 20 minutes from the previous half marathon that I had run. I have set myself a goal already for next year, so I am going to sign up again for the Hoka Half Marathon next year, and my goal will be to get a sub 2 hour half marathon. So I'm putting that out there in the universe now. So that's the aim for next year. But yeah, so that is one ticked off my health and fitness goals. The second one, which I actually spent quite a bit of time talking about last quarter, and I was like really negative, I guess, about this, and it was about running 5k in under 25 minutes. And I just thought that that was so completely not possible that I kind of had like written it off in my head almost, thinking, oh, there's like no way I'm gonna hit that. But probably about like 2 weeks after filming that video, I ran a sub 25 5k, and I actually ran it in 24 minutes and 14 seconds. Now, if you're not a runner, those 45 seconds, like difference between obviously 24 minutes 14 or 46 seconds and 25 minutes, probably doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're actually like running, that is a huge difference. Like that 45 seconds is actually quite a big deal. So we did it, we ticked it off, and I'm so happy about it. I've set myself a goal already for next year to have another time challenge based on the 5K. I haven't tried to do it again since, so it might be a one-off, but it doesn't even matter if it's a one-off, like we got it done. The next ones, no, we don't have so much progress going on there. So the next one was pull-ups. I still haven't weightlifted since the start of this year. I haven't been to the actual physical gym once. I've been doing Pilates 3 times a week, and I've just started on a new running plan. So I've been running 4 times a week. So weightlifting just like doesn't really have space in the calendar right now. So that's still back on the list. The next one was 75 hard, and I mentioned in the last video that I was going to do the 75 hard when I got back from Japan, and I had really like settled on that idea as to that is what I was going to do, and I'd sort of timed it so it worked well so that I'd be finishing like just before my birthday. And then I just kind of decided I didn't want to do it. Like I just was like, why will I limit myself even further? To be quite honest, like I already don't really drink very much alcohol. I am exercising currently once a day already. I eat healthy, I would say the majority of the time. There's definitely still improvements that can be done to my diet, but like for the most part, like I'm a pretty healthy person. I'm reading quite a lot of the time anyway, and the main thing for me is that I didn't want to restrict my social life. So I just, to be honest, decided I didn't want to do 75 hard, and at this point in time, I don't think I will complete it this year, if ever maybe. And I think that's so totally okay. I think one of these big things about reviewing your goals is to acknowledge that your goals change over time, and maybe something that was important to me at the start of the year is just no longer important to me. So anyway, that's how I feel about that at the moment. And the final one is unprocessed foods. I feel like since the last video, it's kind of not taking a backseat, but I haven't been paying like as much attention to it. Like every week prior, I had been like writing out lists of every single like plant-based food, like, you know, fruits, veggies, etc., making sure I was hitting 30. And I haven't been doing that, like writing the list, but I have been sort of mindful as to what I am putting in my body and still paying attention to that. Moving on to financial, and yeah, I have been reviewing this. If you guys don't know, I've been doing a no spend month in June. So basically trying to limit my spending as much as possible. Now, one of the reasons that I did that, there was a couple of reasons, but one of the reasons why I did that was because in my Q1 video, and I told you guys that I was probably nowhere close to reaching my savings goal for the year. That sort of motivated me to have a no spend month so I could get back on track with that and actually make that goal feasible rather than just writing it off straight away. But anyway, back on track. So my savings goal, I kind of just changed my mindset around, changed my priorities around a little bit. I'm currently at 42% of my goal. Now, of course, like I said, we're about halfway through the year, so I'm like just under halfway through where I should be. However, basically I've done the math, and the amount that I now need to be saving, I think be able to do it. So I'm hoping that I actually will now be able to hit that goal by the end of the year. And you know, like I want to buy a house and do all of those things. So yeah, I just feel like realigning my priorities and just thinking about what's actually really important to me is helping me focus my money on where it really should be spent or saved, etc. My second thing was to track my spending. I am still doing that. I actually love tracking my spending. I think it's so insightful. If you've never done it before and you're a spender, I would highly recommend you do it. I think it would be life-changing. I think it will open your eyes as to where you spend your money, and like all of the little purchases here and there. It's shocking. It's actually shocking. So I would definitely recommend you do that if you've never done that before. The third is my lifetime ISA. I know I mentioned last time that I was still slowly investing. Again, that's kind of just like still at that same point. Every time I log into the account, which is like once a month normally, I will slowly invest like a little bit more into my lifetime ISA. So that's kind of just going slowly but steady. And the final thing was to invest $7,000, and I checked my budget tracker for the year. I'm currently on $3,847 invested, and that's separate to my lifetime ISA. So this is like investments that I'm doing here in Australia rather than the money that I already have in my lifetime ISA. So I am over halfway through that goal, so I should definitely hit that goal by the end of the year, which is super exciting. I feel like my financial goals are on target for the year. So overall, I'm pretty happy in that category. The final category, actually that's a lie, this is the penultimate category, so which is relationships. Date nights, I mentioned before, we haven't really been doing like that many date nights out of the house. I don't know if that's bad. Maybe some couples would think that that's bad, but honestly, it just like doesn't phase us. Like, I'm so happy. My love language is quality time. So I'm so happy even just like us sitting at home on the sofa, watching a movie, having some popcorn, like whatever it might be, having dinner together. Like, those little things mean a lot more to me, I think, than like some big extravagant date night somewhere. Activities with friends, I've still been trying to prioritize seeing my friends. I think now that the weather's a bit colder, it's a bit more difficult, because honestly sometimes like I don't even want to leave my house. Like, I literally have a cup of tea here that's just like warming up my hands. But I definitely have still been seeing my friends more than I have done in previous years, and I just think that's so important to make sure you're prioritizing those friendships in your life. And then family relationships, again, I'm super happy with where I'm at with this. I think the last video I mentioned that I was trying to FaceTime my mum once a week. I would say now my mum and I FaceTime multiple times a week. Like, we're speaking most days and FaceTiming at least probably 2 times a week. So like, I just love chatting to her, especially now. So my mum used to be a teacher, and she quit her teaching job last year, and she's now set up her own business. So she's just got more free time now. So I just love being able to call her and just FaceTime whenever we want to FaceTime, because she has flexibility now that she is a business owner instead. I just realized that that also wasn't the penultimate category. I actually still have 2 more categories to go, so apologies about that. But the next one is travel, my favorite thing to talk about, my favorite thing to look at and plan for. So let's go through the travel goals for the year. So I actually only had 2 goals in my travel goals for the year, which actually seems like pretty low. Like, now I'm actually reflecting back, like I say how much I love travel and it's my focus, etc, etc, but actually I only had 2 goals on there. The first one, I'm trying to find them again, was booking another international holiday. The trip I mentioned in my last video is not going ahead, which was so sad, because it was going to be like a trip with my best friend from primary school, and we basically just decided that financially it was not the best trip to go on, because it was going to cost us a fortune. So we did decide we're not doing that. So that's so sad. However, financially it was the right thing to do. We are most likely going to go back to the UK for Christmas again this year. And in addition to that, we will most likely take a trip to somewhere else after we go back home for Christmas. I don't know where. Obviously, like last year we did the UK and then we went to Thailand. This year I don't think we'll have that much time to play with, so we are undecided currently as to what we'll do. I also need to renew my passport. My passport expires next year at some stage, so that's like on my list of things to do this weekend actually, is to replace my passport pretty much. The second goal was to visit 3 new countries. Now, I kind of touched on this the last time as to countries versus countries and territories, because if we include territories, then I've already hit that goal for the year, because I've done Thailand, we went to New Caledonia, which is a territory, and Japan. So I'm gonna say that that is done, because that is basically 3 new places. So I'm gonna tick that as like a completed goal for the year, which is exciting, which means only 1 more travel goal to hit for the year, and then we are finished with that one. Now we're finally on to the final category, which is miscellaneous, and a few random things here. The first one was to donate blood. I mentioned before, I've like always wanted to donate blood. It's just never really worked with the timelines. I am officially booked to donate blood on July the 9th. So pretty much very soon I will be donating blood. If all goes well with the blood donation and I don't like feel faint or anything like that, then I will try to regularly donate blood. I think it's just like a good thing to do. The second one is the apartment. We've made no changes to the apartment. I feel like you guys always see like this little filming setup which is just like where I like to sit when I film my videos, but we've not made any changes to the apartment. Primarily in June, like I mentioned, I was doing a no spend month. So obviously anything homeware was not considered an essential expense. There are definitely some things that we need to replace. We don't even need to replace them again. It's that same argument of, do we just get by with what we have? Do we replace stuff? Because nothing needs to be replaced. Nothing is, apart from our microwave actually, aside from the microwave, nothing is broken. Everything still works as it should. Could we make improvements? Yes, we definitely could. Some of our furniture could definitely be updated, but furniture is so expensive, and it's just that battle of aligning our goals and prioritizing what is most important to us right now. So I think that that one is still just gonna be like on the back burner for the time being. Decluttering, we're still decluttering slowly but surely. I did another clothes clear out, and the other weekend when the girls were around, I let them go through all of my clothes that I am planning to get rid of and let them take like whatever they wanted. And the final thing is to have the apartment cleaned before bed. And I would definitely say I've noticed an improvement of this quarter than last quarter. There are definitely still times where maybe we're a little bit messy, but on the whole, I think we are heading in the right direction in terms of just making sure everything is spotless. Like I literally want our apartment to feel like a show home whenever people walk in. So if we ever have like a unexpected visitor or anything like that, the home just looks perfect. So anyway, that kind of brings us to the end of the video. It's been nice going over my goals again and seeing where we're at the end of Q2. I feel like we've made some positive progress, and yeah, I'm excited to see now sort of where the rest of the year takes us.